But I wanted to ask you guys what the most intriguing storyline is for you personally heading into a new season. EJ, what is it that you're kind of really watching?
Well, there's a lot of things, but I think the one for me is the Toronto Maple Leafs because they got Mitch Marner signed, big contracts. They got all those young guys signed now, but they're in a short window for me because on defense, you look at it, they've got 3 defensemen in Barrie, in Ceci, and Muzzin. They're all in the last year of their contract. They probably won't be able to keep those guys moving forward. So this might be the best window for this group of players, all in their prime, to get it done. So I'll be curious because there's always, as you know, you grew up in that area. Billy, you worked up there from time to time. I mean, we know it's crazy up there.
Yeah.
They haven't won since '67. There's a lot of pressure. Already on opening night, Mike Babcock is not going to play Jason Spezza, healthy scratch.
I don't get that.
So I wonder, neither do I. I just wonder how it's going to play out. So it's going to be a very interesting year. But they have the talent within that team
potential
to make it happen.
Well, just to finish the thought on that, and then I'll give you my storyline that I'm looking at. I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs, I thought, had an opportunity to go into this season drama-free, relatively, wherever that means for Toronto, because of the craziness up there.
Well said.
Because they get Marner signed to the mega deal, and by the way, RFAs in the offseason, how big of a story was that?
Yeah.
But now we've moved past that. But this team, now already in game 1, I mean, why are you feeding? I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but why isn't Spezza playing? I mean, why create anything like this? Let him play. The former Ottawa Senator captain, the guy who you're bringing in for 1 year for leadership and everything, let him play. I digress for a moment. Toronto, I think, will figure out, I think they'll have a good regular season. I really do. I think they're going to put everything they can, Jackie, into being home ice team come the playoffs, given what's happened the last 2 years when they lost to Boston in Game 7.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And, don't tell me how to run my team. If I want to scratch a guy, Billy, I'll scratch him, even though it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I remember Mike scratching Mike Badano. Healthy scratch when he was in Detroit. Remember, Mike played that one season there. So,
and he had how many career games?
He ended up with 1,499.
So he didn't hit 1,500 because of that healthy scratch? Is that the story?
Yes.
As the story goes?
Yeah.
I just think it's looking for something, creating something for no reason whatsoever.
I'm with you.
Go into the season completely dropped, and they're doing this captain thing, and just name the captain.
There's a lot going on. What we really should be talking about, or what Leafs Nation should have been talking about all day today, was who's going to be named captain. That's an exciting, positive thing, right? Instead, they're talking about Jason Spezza. Why is he being healthy scratched in the first game of the season against a team that doesn't have high expectations? His former team, a team he captained, and the reasoning. We're going to have Kristen Shilton on in a few minutes here. She'll have the latest on that story, but apparently the reasoning is just that he needs a little more time to get used to the penalty kill or figure out their penalty kill, and that there's a rotation there. But if it's a rotation, why not play him tonight and scratch him Friday?
My take on it too, and I think you would agree, Bill, it's a little bit of a shot at Kyle Dubas too. Dubas signs him, and then the coach decides to scratch him on opening night. So I mean, it's going to play out. That's why you asked me. Intriguing storyline. It's going to be an intriguing storyline all year long.
And there are many for the tournament.
We know one thing. Jason Spezza will not be named captain tonight. We know that.
We can rule
that would
out.
be a story.
That would be a great story.
For you, Billy.
For me, Toronto to me is huge, no question about it. I'm going to go out west, though, and it's kind of a generalized, vague statement, but I really mean it. It is the East. You have a couple of teams, Jackie and each, that I think are legit, the top teams. Out west, Vegas is the odds-on favorite, kind of appropriate given that it's Vegas. But on the other hand, are they really the favorite? I mean, I don't know. I've got 5, 6, 7 teams out there that I think it's wide open. You see the Colorados, the Dallases, the Nashvilles. Not a lot of people talking about Nashville, though. Maybe this is the year that they can finally catapult themselves to all the way to winning the Stanley Cup final. But I look at the West and I say, as much as if I had to put money on it, I'd put it on Vegas if I had to right now.
Right.
But it's, I mean,
you don't think it's a given?
Oh, no. I do not in the West. I think it's less of a, I think there's 4 or 5 teams maybe at most in the East that I would say, those are the guys. Those are the teams, I think, not in the West. The West, to me, wide open right now.
You agree?
I do agree. I think, I like Dallas, to me, is a team came within 1 goal of winning the Stanley Cup last year, losing in double overtime Game 7 to St. Louis, so they had a chance to go maybe to the Western Conference Final, maybe get on to the Cup Final. Colorado is, they were so much fun to watch in the postseason. They got
and they got better.
They got 3 guys on defense that are 21 years of age or younger on their roster to start the season. When you think of Girard, Gerard's been around a while. He's still only 21. Cale Makar, and then Connor Timmins is also part of their opening night roster. So moving forward, that team, boy, over the next 5, 6, 7 years, they are going to be dangerous.
If they don't compete for a cup in the next 2 or 3 years, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
If they're not in a Stanley Cup final.
I think they can make a statement this year for sure.
I think
Colorado
they can
Avalanche.
too.
They made a few adjustments to their roster, but I think they were key ones. You know, Nazem Kadri is a great example of a player they
And they
added
have
to their
room to
roster
add.
who plays a very specific role. For me, though, the most intriguing storyline is the Florida Panthers. I mean, I am not going to miss a Panthers game for the first 3 weeks of the season.
Really?
I mean, unless they go 0-13.
Or the Leafs.
Oh, I thought they were going to send you down there for every game.
I would happily go. I would happily go. But I just think, they get the big fish and Sergei Bobrovsky between the pipes, addressing their biggest need over the last few seasons. They got one of, if not the best head coach on the planet in Coach Q behind the bench. I think if there's anyone who can get them back into the playoffs and figure out a way to get the most out of that team, it's probably Joel Quenneville, correct?
Yeah, well, you know what he brings? He brings credibility to that franchise. And I think, there's a couple teams around the league I would say this about, and certainly for the Florida Panthers. They need to build and create a culture of success. And it's not easy to do. You cover the Boston Bruins as part of a job with Nesson there. They have built a culture of success there. Joel Quenneville brings that credibility of having won 3 Stanley Cups, and maybe he can start that process. That's what they need there.
It's a wonderful place to play for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
It's got
But
a
it
great
has to be more
quality
than
of
a
life.
vacation, right?
Exactly. Well, the players, they all say the right things. They like going down there. But now with Joel Quenneville there, it should, emphasis should, become a destination where players choose to go to, not because it's cool and great quality of, weather life and all that stuff, because they're winning. And if Joel Quenneville can do that, watch out. Then that becomes crazy tough down there.
Real quick, if you look at the Eastern Conference and you're a betting man today, are the Florida Panthers a playoff team?
Yeah, I think they
I have them getting in, yes.
Wild card?
Well, whether it's wild card or 4th spot, I have them getting in.